Your tagline says nothing.
Well,
without hiring an agency.
Yes, no, don't hire an agency.
What does video do for people?
Video is great, but video generally cannibalizes conversions. I think the thing that's frustrating for chatbots is the appearance of you're talking to a human, and then it's very quickly apparent that you're not.
Right. After a dead battery at Take Two, we are here with my friend Sahil Patel. So people who don't know you, living under a rock, who are you?
I'm Sahil Patel. I'm the CEO of Spiralize.
Spiralize is awesome. We love it. So, but stepping back, telling our origin story here, how long have I known you?
We think it goes back at least to 2014, maybe 2012.
Right.
We were in the same space.
Yeah, we're in the same space. So we were competing startups, but like the thing I always remembered about you, I was kind of like fresh out of private equity. So I was ready to rip everyone's face off. And I go to a conference and here's the CEO of a rival company, ER Express, comes up to our booth and goes, "Hey, how can I help you guys out?" I was like, this is the nicest guy. He's impossible to hate. And I just wanted to be your friend from then on out, right? So
you have a fond memory of that. I'm trying to remember which conference that. I think it was in Orlando.
Yeah, someone like the UCAOA, where all the urgent care docs hung out.
That's right.
It was fun. That was a wild time.
That was a kind of a big growth time for urgent care.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about, like regarding that, back then, digital marketing meant email.
Yes, and we were both in the space where we were one of the primary things was helping acute care facilities acquire patients.
Yes.
The first thing I would tell you, I remember we would go in, we'd do a pitch. You probably had this experience too. And the first reaction we would get, it would be disbelief from the hospital execs because they would say, no one Googles
right
before they go in.
Right.
And we'd say, no, they definitely do.
Yes.
They'd be like, no, they don't. We're like, why don't we show you the results? And of course, we knew the results ahead of time. So we'd say, nearest urgent care near Wellstar. I'm not saying Wellstar said that. I'm just picking one. And we'd be like, and you would see, it was fascinating because they could see people really did this, and sometimes their competitors would be getting the results ahead of them.
Yeah.
And we would say, that's your patient, but they're going somewhere else.
That's still kind of true today in some respects.
Sure.
Like back then, that was mind bending. And then, and what we're going to be talking about today is conversion rate optimization. That's what Spiralize does. So we're going to get to that in a second. But like, as it relates to this particular story, what we would do was like, if you could just post something on your digital real estate that matches your physical real estate, like, hey, let's take a patient, like this was 2012, right? So no one was doing this. But if you could say, hey, we have open spots now, if you have a sore throat, rather than go to the ER, why don't you just come into the urgent care
and give us your name? We'll be ready for you.
And we'll text you, right?
Yeah.
And like that
was a big idea.
And it blew these guys' minds away that they could get, like, if I got 3 more patients a month, this pays for itself and the ROI is outsized, right? So just having that call to action on a 1-page web page about an urgent care was game changing for these guys.
Yes. And digital meant maybe just having a website.
Yeah.
Much less thinking about how can I get at the top of the results and give someone a reason to click and come to me, the competing urgent care down the street.
100%. Yeah. So like you had a whole story from ER Express all the way to Spiralize. Could you kind of tell us like that journey, and like you saw some problems along the way, like this thing maybe was or wasn't going to take off, but it was solving something. Can you just tell us how that all came to be?
Yeah, well, it's a cool story. I ran ER Express for 10 years.
Right.
We were roughly running that and Clockwise in parallel. And along the way, I met the founder of Spiralize.
Okay.
And we met because our oldest daughters went to the same school.
And he was an engineer.
He was an engineer.
Right.
Yep, engineer by training, technical founder of the business. And we met like at a parent event. And it was just like, oh, what do you do? What is that? What do you do? Spiralize. What is that? CRO. What the hell is CRO? And I kind of got this idea of A/B testing. Can you do 2 versions of, say, your homepage and measure? Does the B version get you more customers than the A version?
Right. Kind
of got that. It's not that had Spiralize invented that. There have been really incredible companies. Booking.com is a great example of experimenting and, putting little things that got people to buy. You can refund your ticket for 24 hours. Takes away that anxiety. People are like, oh, I'm going to book and then I don't want to go on the trip. And they I think they're famous for running thousands of experiments a month. And So I used the product. I became a Spiralize customer.
Okay. For ER Express.
For ER Express.
Okay. And what were you testing?
So we were testing how can we get more patients to book.
So was there a better call to action?
There was. We A/B tested the call to action, the form. Should you ask for their email first or their name first, or their chief complaint first? Could you put something on that CTA at the bottom of the page? Is it better for that button to be green or blue? To make a difference. Yeah. And we could actually see, because here's the fact. I had never thought about it, but if you had 100 people start the form, not all 100 completed it. Why? Various reasons. But we could test our way into getting more people to fill out the form. And that was the value prop. That was our primary value proposition, was customer acquisition. So it was effectively free ROI because we had already invested in getting traffic to get someone navigate to the urgent care website, click check in from home, fill in the form and hit submit. And for whatever reason, out of every 100 people, not all of them did it. And we could test our way into, was it the layout of the form, the questions we asked, the order, all those things, put a little tagline on it. So I became a believer.
Okay.
Again, because I could see the data. I could see it work. I could statistically see that if we change this one thing, we got 4% more people to fill in the form.
Okay.
Wow.
So you go back to your buddy, the founder, and you say, I want to be involved?
It wasn't, well, it wasn't, it was more like we stayed in touch. I was a long-time customer.
You're the high user. You're like the most valued customer. You're the high user, right?
Well, and, we were, Clockwise was even bigger than ER Express. We're throughputting thousands of patients a day.
Yeah,
so you can very quickly see what worked. Like your sample size, your N was thousands or in the tens of thousands. So we could see what worked and it was measurable and that appealed to me. And it also actually gave us the thing to go back to our customers, which were health systems and urgent care and say, hey, this month we actually got you an extra 25 patients.
That's huge, right?
Because we made this one change on the form. And they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
And it would show like, hey, this is why we're continually making the product better for you.
And in primary care, it was so easy to validate. That patient's worth $125 a visit.
Right.
Circa this uplift I gave you is worth X. I remember the day we hit 100,000 patients in Clockwise. We were just like high-fiving. It was like, I couldn't believe little old company in Atlanta was able to even do something like that.
So that's the start of the origin story. Like you, we got to an exit and were acquired by a bigger company. And then I stuck around for a year and was thinking about the next chapter. And I'd stayed in touch with Gajan, the founder. And he had done a great job building the business organically, self-funded. So he bootstrapped the whole thing. And along the way had started it from being a pretty typical agency into a product company.
Got it.
And he would show me the product. In fact, little kind of detail along the way, Spiralize and ER Express shared an office.
Okay.
Because we had a kind of a unique situation where we were kind of between leases and he had some unused space.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, could we camp out for about 6 months while we figure out, this is all pre-COVID.
You were so overlapped.
Day. And he goes, sure. And I told him, hey, we're going to do this kind of odd thing. We're going to share space with this other company. Some of you know them because we use their product. So during that time, we got to know each other in a way that the typical vendor customer doesn't.
Right.
We're sitting across from each other.
I must have been gold to him, though, to see that throughput and these tests work and to retest and retest, going from a services company to a platform.
Yep. And also, I learned a lot because I learned how other customers were using Spiralize. And along the way, he was starting to build a product. And he would show me, he's like, hey, we're kind of productizing what we do. Check out this prototype. And I was like, hey, there's something here. This is pretty cool. Sold ER Express, thinking about the next thing. Gajan's in touch. He kept building it. He kept productizing it. And he said, why don't you come help me run Spiralize? Be my partner. Here's the 3 things I'm good at. I think here's the 3 things you seem to be good at. And they're different things. And we knew each other. I knew the product worked. And it was in Atlanta too. I wanted to stay in Atlanta. And this was post-COVID. And so then, and he said, we have this moat now, which is we crawl 34,000 websites that run A/B tests. We find everyone else's A/B tests. We cluster them to find which ones work for B2B SaaS, on a paid landing page with a 7-day free trial versus, say, a homepage or a organic traffic page.
That part blows my mind. Where's this data available?
So the data is in the public domain.
Right.
Because all these tests are happening on websites, public websites. And most testing happens in what's called, in browser, we call it client-side testing, as opposed to server-side testing.
Okay.
All that testing's in the public domain. You could do it right now. You could open up someone's website, open from a couple browsers, and see if you can get the A and the B version of the test.
So traditional CRO consultants now, they probably have some type of tech stack. What was the old version versus what Spiralize then made the pivot? And I guess you'd call it disrupt.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think that the traditional kind of approach to A/B testing is you buy a testing instrument. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really good ones out there. Optimizely, VWO, Mutiny, all really good products, great companies. Google had a free product in the market for a long time. They sunset that, but I think it actually did everyone a favor because their free product just got more people interested in testing.
Got it.
And then what happened to most companies is you buy the self-serve product, you install the script on your website, you maybe read a few blog posts about what works for your vertical. There's a bunch of low-hanging fruit if you've never optimized before, and you run a test, and it's super exciting. And the measurement, the instrument shows you plus 12%. And you're like, this is amazing. This is free money. I just got 12 more customers doing nothing but changing a couple things on the page. Maybe I wrote a better headline, crisper CTA, maybe I showed product image instead of stock photography of happy people.
Please,
one of my favorite ones. Yeah. I don't know. How are people having so much fun in conference rooms? Like, what is it?
I don't know.
People with their arms crossed looking at a computer screen. Like, what is that? Who are these people?
Yes.
And why does everyone think that's gonna work? You pick some low-hanging fruit, and you might get through that in a few months. And then, what do we do next? And that was kind of the beginning, middle, end of the tech stack. So then what you do is you put 3 smart people in a conference room with a whiteboard and you start writing down ideas. And you're like, I read on a blog that you should do this. Oh, I listened to a podcast. The CEO said we should put the picture of his dog on the website.
100% dogs, yeah.
Oh, hey, let's look at our competitor. Competitor's doing this. And then what comes back is tests either are negative. There's nothing wrong with a losing test. You have to run losing tests to find winning tests.
For sure.
Or they're even worse is inconclusive.
Diminishing returns.
And you're just not moving the needle. So then you go, well, I wonder if we change the button color from blue to green, that little add to shopping cart thing will work. It turns out occasionally that might do something, but most of the time it does nothing. Giant waste of time. And all that excitement for CRO is kind of seeping out of the balloon.
You went from a retainer to a project, right?
Yeah. And this is true whether you're doing it in-house or you've hired an agency with some expertise to do it. Now, if you've hired an agency, I think that the shelf life is longer because they wake up every day thinking about testing, and they have a portfolio of clients, and they're maybe working for 20 or 30 or 40, 50 brands.
Right. And
they go, oh, here's what's worked across these. By the way, the same thing happens. It takes a little bit longer to get there.
Yep.
But it happens. And I think the insight we had is there are many more websites out there testing than we will ever do business with. Why not learn from them?
Okay.
And then identify what are the tests that work over and over and over again and run those. And it's like a cheat code because you skip past all the losing tests and your starting point is everyone else's winning tests.
Yeah.
That was the insight we had. And we got there maybe a little bit through trial and error, but we got there. And that's become our moat.
Yeah. And you've helped some big companies. I mean, I look at your website, I'm like super impressed. Yeah. Like Orca. What was the other one I was looking at?
CrowdStrike.
Yep.
It's pretty
Workday.
Pretty good.
I saw on there.
Workday.
Yeah. High five.
Pretty good size. Unbounce, which bills itself as a CRO company and landing page company, great product. But they use us to do.
That's interesting. And you also do an interesting thing because you've looked at our website and still haven't gotten to everything, but you do the A/B testing, but you got into a lot of design. And I was really interested, hey, the grain should be pointing towards the CTA.
Yes, that's a good one.
Or the triangle drop downs, just the organization, just to make it so much you put your social credibility, your logos a little higher up, and this is the one I know you'll love, but your tagline says nothing, and I know you're on CRO crimes. I'd love to hear more about that too, but that's what I wanted to get into. So as you do these tests, what are the main mistakes you keep seeing CMOs doing over and over again before you even get to testing?
Yeah, I would say even before you get to testing, I see this all the time. New CMO takes on the role. He or she has a lot of, all the excitement's there. All the kind of, they got this equity that they've got to choose how to spend their personal capital. And the first thing they do is a website revamp.
Yeah, number one. I gotta put my brand on it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I've seen how this movie ends.
Yeah.
Guys, it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
It's not going to end well. So they do this, and by the way, these things, they hire an expensive agency.
Yeah.
It's going to run over budget. It's going to run over time. Yeah. It's not going to be based on data. It's going to be based on kind of mood boards, or maybe just as bad, the opinion of the highest paid person.
Yeah. Oh, and as an SEO firm, like I inherit those. Like, why did our SEO and our traffic, organic traffic, fall off the face of the earth? Like, you kind of lost all your headlines, you lost all your pages.
And we have this new homepage. It looks great.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. Day one of the new website. It took us a little bit longer to get here, but boy, it looks great.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Day 30. Hey, I noticed. Has anyone logged into GA4 and seen how it's performing?
Exactly.
Well, let's check. Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Hey, can we have someone look into that?
Yeah.
Day 60. I bet it's an attribution problem. Day 90, we've got a serious problem in the sales pipeline because inbounds have fallen through the floor. Yeah. Somewhere around day 100, you're looking for a new CMO.
That's never good. And the agency that did it is now out, and everyone.
Oh, they're definitely out.
Nobody's happy in that scenario.
No one's happy. Yeah. People are pointing fingers, and there's variations on that movie, but it's those are the plot points, and that's generally how it ends. So back to what you're saying.
The big mistakes.
Big mistakes, and I think part of the mistake is there's two things there. One is, I think if you're new in the seat, you need to do something that moves the needle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to prove your value right away.
And you got to make the cash register right. Mm-hmm. And I would say a website, by the way, there's nothing wrong with website relaunches, revamps, brand refresh. You should do those things. I just wouldn't make it like the first thing, the first 90 days. I would do something that tangibly moves the needle for your stakeholders, for your board, for your CEO, for your CFO. You do that, you just immensely build credibility. You move the needle. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a huge thing, just a little bit, 10%. I think most people are pretty happy. It's measurable. And now you say, hey, we need to invest in something that's going to have some long-term dividends. Right. The brand is looking stale.
Yes.
Let's do some stuff to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the underpinning mistake there is, I would say, performance marketing. And I'm going to use that as an umbrella term for SEO, CRO, advertising, is at odds and is mutually exclusive from branding. Branding is performance, and performance is branding.
Okay.
And first of all, branding without performance, what is it? It's something that looks nice and nothing else. But I would make the same argument, flip side of the coin. All the SEO in the world, all the CRO in the world, all the advertising in the world, without a brand behind it, it's just random stuff.
100%.
Some of it'll work.
Yeah.
Especially if you have low-hanging fruit.
Right.
If you have an old-looking website and you do some A/B tests, you'll get it. You run some ads, great. If you've done zero SEO for a while, you built some backlinks, you built some credit, some domain authority, you move the needle. But there's nothing behind it.
Right.
It's going to fizzle.
Yeah.
So I think the second underpinning or the third underpinning is that A/B testing is about, changing the button color or some words on the page and then waiting 4 months to see if it eked out 3% more clicks. Versus, let's bring this back to what you said, is I think the A/B testing that moves the needle, what we've seen is you look at everything that's happening on the page, the way it looks, the emotion that it evokes with the audience, how it creates mental availability for them to think about your value proposition. You do those things. That's A/B testing.
Which is hilarious because a lot of that's branding.
It is.
Right.
It is branding.
Yeah.
It is
so
branding.
these are the emotive parts of branding that create call to action on the direct marketing side, where you can actually measure and now attribute value and revenue. Right.
That's exactly right. And a great example is have a great hook.
Have a great hook. Yes.
Have a great hook.
So what is a great hook? I know we've talked about this a lot, but I want to hear you say it to the camera.
Here's to me a great first. What is the first thing you want someone to notice on your web? On a page, homepage, landing page, paid landing page. What is the first thing? It's often the headline. It doesn't have to be, by the way. It could be the image.
Yeah, could be the image.
Could be the image. But you should start with, what do I want people, why are they going to stay? I assume that they have looked at 6 websites in the same category before they get to mine, that I'm the 7th in line.
Or I say the other side of that, they are way too close to their product that they'll say they do like the word bingo or word vomit, where automated AI solution.
Best in class.
Best in class solution.
Best in class AI powered.
Yeah, and that doesn't
like buzzword bingo.
Right. And like, instead of just saying this is the problem we solve, this is the benefit to you. I'm still amazed in the SaaS world, as fast as that market is growing. I love you SaaS companies, but you still are not describing what you do on your headline or why it matters to the customer. And from an SEO perspective, that's frustrating because, we work really hard to get the traffic there. And if it
doesn't convert,
it doesn't matter. I get fired.
The number one way to improve SEO, besides doing SEO, is improve conversion rates.
Yeah. So if I'm on the page longer, yeah, exactly.
If you stay longer, and especially if you convert, someone that converts almost never goes back and reruns a search query.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a huge...
And Google rewards you for engaged sessions rather than your bounce rate.
That's right.
So
what's a great hook? It's something that first of all, gets someone's attention, and it works in the first 1 to 2 seconds that are put on. It's about how long you have.
It's your highway billboard.
Yeah, highway billboard.
Yeah. It's your image and your very catchy, I don't know, it doesn't be a tagline, but just 4 words, what you do.
It is. And it can be, it's the McDonald's arches.
Exactly.
The Chick-fil-A drive-through.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know exactly what you're getting.
Exactly.
Easier said than done, for sure.
Yeah, %. Yeah. And that's why you A/B test, right?
That's why you A/B test. Now, there's some great examples out there, but I would come back to more than just trying to template what everyone else is doing is A/B test your way. And the best hook is, you would say, what's a great one-line hook? And I think it's a mistake to obsess over what is the one-liner for my business. Now, you should be able to explain, of course, everyone should have an elevator pitch. But if we're taking this to the world of digital or websites, your best one line is only as good as your most recent A/B test.
Yeah.
And the best companies are continually testing. And they're trying different hooks. And they're trying different hooks on different pages, home pages, landing pages, demo request pages, asset download pages, webinar signups. And they're trying with different audiences, paid audiences. And if it's a solution page, you're probably gonna need a different hook than your homepage.
Yeah. Okay. So a good hook, a good image was another one, very practical that everyone can now take home and do homework. Is there another 2 or 3 things that you would just say, hey, this will help you? Well, without hiring an agency.
Yes. No. Don't hire an agency. Please don't hire an agency. Yeah. And I mean that. Here's a couple things that everyone can do. Take your homepage, right click in Chrome and when you right click, you'll see a little thing called Google Translate if you're in Chrome. Put your homepage in a different language, one that no one around you speaks.
Oh, I love this.
So if you're in North America, I don't know, pick Arabic.
Yep.
Take the homepage, show it to 5 acquaintances, not your friends and family, 5 acquaintances. Just ask them, what do you think this company does?
Yes. This is the mom test.
Yeah. It is. And by the way, no one is going to say, I think this is point of sale service for retailers in suburban areas with less than 5 locations. Like, no one's coming up with that.
Yeah.
But they might say something like, this looks like tech for restaurants.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you get that, great job.
Yeah.
And if they say something like, they're selling sweaters for people in conference rooms, you might have missed something.
We're a logistics company, but okay.
You'd be surprised. Because here's the reason it works. Your brain processes images faster than words.
Okay.
So if you can communicate just the general gist of what you do with an image, you have gotten that across. You've created mental availability for your audience to continue their journey of deciding, am I in the right place? Does this do something that I'm interested in? If you have high cognitive load, then you reduce their mental availability to make that journey. So if they have to look at your homepage, they have to think about, what is this? Or how is this different? Or am I even in the right place?
Yes.
You've lost them.
Yeah.
Now look, your highest intent audience, they're there because they came to buy. You're going to get them no matter what. But the other 80, 90%.
Yeah. What about video? What does video do for people?
Video is great, but video generally cannibalizes conversions.
Okay.
And here we're doing video and why do we do video on things like this? Because it activating.
Yes. Yep.
Our brains are trained
Yes.
to detect motion.
Okay.
We're hardwired. Now, I'm not a biologist, evolution, but there's some data that suggests.
But I do listen to Joe Rogan, and I feel he knows what to do. No? Okay, sorry.
You can cut that
That's
part.
just me.
I don't like that guy.
That's not getting cut. That was awesome.
Joe Rogan, dude, he's incredible. He's got like a gajillion followers, but he's just not my cup of tea.
Back to evolutionary psychology or hardwired brains.
There's something that, look, in the early days, you venture out of the cave and you see a predator come by. That's a warning signal.
Yep.
Go back in.
Yeah, was that the Daniel Pink like click word, like that shortcut that causes a biological reaction? Yeah,
there's a reaction because something that moves might eat you.
Mm.
So motion is very powerful. Then second, the last 10 years, YouTube has trained everyone to see that little play thing, and you just can't help it.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing: your audience has a finite reservoir of attention. It might be 2 minutes, and if you've got that minute 30-second video, that's, by the way, in some ways, the better it is, higher production value, the more intriguing it is, the more it might hurt your conversion. By the way, I said might. Not for sure. It's worth testing.
Depends.
Now we've seen this is validated by eye tracking data, by heat mapping, click, play. You don't know quite what to do afterward, and you have a 3-minute attention span, and 1.5, 2 minutes has now been eaten up by the video. Your reservoir is lowered.
Oh,
and there isn't necessarily something there to replenish it. So you might move on.
Oh, that's interesting. So the actual digital experience within the video itself should have some type of call to action. Or
it should
be something afterwards, right?
It should. And the place to do it is, this doesn't mean get rid of video on your landing pages, your websites, or any other assets. It means put it in its right place. Don't put it in the hero, because it is 100% going to get people's attention, which on the surface is not a bad thing, but it means it's gonna interrupt the journey they're there to make.
It's true.
And you
don't make it a bad video.
Don't make it a bad video. But what you don't want to do is interrupt your high intent audience on their way to the cash register. A great, the drive-through kind of fast food. There is almost nothing between you and that menu. You're gonna pull around. You're gonna.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm on my way to get to your services page to look more about like how I can set up a demo, but you put them up with a pop-up trying to talk about your great customer success process, and you totally hijacked the whole thing and distracted them.
Well, and you've done it for the highest intent audience, who are the people that are on their way to the cash register.
You know what I hate at the drive-thru is when they ask me, would you like to try our specials? Like, 2-for-1 waffle fries. I'm like, no, man, I just want to order.
I want my thing.
I'm always here for the number 2. That's what I do.
So if someone gets to your landing page, you want to just remove friction.
Exactly.
You want to give them a great hook. You want to make sure that whatever got them there is synced with what's on the page. I call that, you don't want a dog food ad and a cat food landing page. Because now you have this cognitive dissonance of like, I was interested in dog food, but it seems to be advertised. The ad was dog food.
You seem to be keep pushing this half price cat food.
Yes, exactly. Why is there a picture of a cat?
Yeah, the journey matters.
The journey matters. You got to give them something. And then let your highest intent audience convert. Your medium and low intent audience, they're not there to convert right away. They may not be there to convert today. That's okay. They're going to scroll, they're going to read, and that's a great place to show the video.
Okay. One last question on this, things that work or may not work, but we had a lot of success putting chatbots into it and helped our conversion rate. What's the proper way to go about putting
chatbots
AI
are hard.
in chat?
Chatbots are really hard.
It took a year process for us though.
They're hard to get right, and I don't have definitive data to tell everyone you should do them or you should not do them.
It's probably use case specific. Can you A/B test a chatbot?
You can. We've done some of it. The data is not, I would say the data is not definitive.
Got it.
Where I can say in these 3 use cases, do it. In these 3 cases, don't do it. Now, what I will say is, I think it works really well for customer service situations.
Yes.
Especially if you have a Pareto effect, an 80-20 rule, where a lot of the audience is coming for the same 4 or 5 things over and over. You want, I'm just going to pick something. I need a password reset. There's 3 technical things that people come all the time. And what you want to do is give them the answer or route them to the best place. Right. I think the thing that's frustrating for chatbots is the appearance of you're talking to a human and then it's very quickly apparent that you're not.
Right.
And it's a not particularly helpful bot.
Very, very interesting.
I think for me, the jury's out, or I haven't seen the data yet on. I mean, a great question was, well, should we have a chatbot on our demo request page or not? I don't have definitive data to say one way or the other.
Yeah, we had a lot of success with it. I don't know if it's the way we implemented it, but I would be very curious of other people's experience. I think for an agency like ours, where we have multiple services, maybe I get to the page and it's not quite apparent what I have a very specific problem. The chatbot can get them into a conversation pretty quickly. And in a perfect world, we get you to a human right away. But we do have a lot of conversion. And I think there's been a lot of fun things chatbots are doing with dynamic forms. The platform, all those are great. HubSpot's got good forms, but there are some unique experiences now we can create on the digital journey.
That's right. And depending on how they answer, you can much more readily then guide them down a path than you can. Here's how I would say is, I think if you have a page where you have a lot of high intent traffic for a high intent offer. So a great example would be a page with 70% or more organic traffic for something like a demo request. By the time someone clicks a demo, they're about to do the thing that no one wants to do, which is talk to sales rep. So if you've gotten to that page, they're high intent, if it's organic, you really want to focus on removing friction. Yeah. And I think flat forms work really well.
As a guy that came out of sales and I came out of sales, it hurts my heart just a little bit. No one wants to talk to me anymore. It's just like...
No one wants to talk to sales reps.
Hey, I know we're running out of time. Is there anything else like you want to I'll probably cut you off on a thought.
I would just come with a thought. I would say, I think the converse might be true on a lower intent.
Yes.
Where there's still a long consideration cycle. Things like chatbots, I think, can be very helpful.
Cool. Awesome. What else do people need to know?
What else do they need to know?
How can they find you?
How can they find me? They can find me on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's cool.
I post 4 mornings a week.
CRO Crimes.
CRO Crimes is my game show. I have a B2B game show.
It is awesome.
That's a thing. That's a game show.
Yes.
And it's edutainment, and we play 5 or 6 rounds. They're lightning rounds. I face off against a different guest every week, and the winner gets $100 for charity.
That's fantastic.
And if you watch, you'll pick up some things about CRO on the way.
Spiralize.com.
Spiralize.com.
With the Y.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Anything else?
We covered so much good ground today.
Dude, thank you so much for
Thank you for having me.
Come again?
This was great. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Be blessed. Bless somebody else. All right.
Excellent.
All right, buddy. That's awesome.
Hey, this was
really cool.
So easy.